What up, everybody? This is JP from Off the Ball Network, giving you a recap of a tremendous, wonderful, excellent, exciting. You can go on and on and on about this NFL Divisional Round 2022 playoff weekend. It was probably the greatest weekend of football I have ever seen, and I've been an NFL fan for a long time. If you ask former NFL players or people that enjoy watching the game, like a lot of people will say that this is probably the greatest weekend they have ever seen, because these 4 games that we watched came down to the wire. We seen like 2 upsets, and it was just wonderful. It was just wonderful, like, to see. It was close games. It was no blowouts. So let's go ahead and let's just talk about them. But before we talk about them, make sure you subscribe to Off the Ball Network for all your sports content, and check out offtheballnetwork.com. You get articles, podcasts, everything you need on offtheballnetwork.com. Shout out to the guys from Off the Ball Network doing their thing and killing the content and everything. Got some exciting, dope content ahead. And also follow us on our social media platforms too as well. We have Off the Ball on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors for Off the Ball Network: BuiltBar, iShaker, MyBookie, and BetUs. If you go to one of their websites, use the promo code Off the Ball, you'll get really good deals, exciting deals, and also really good bets to start off with as well. So if you go to one of the websites, use the promo code Off the Ball, you will not miss anything. And thank you to our sponsors for Off the Ball Network. Let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start with the very first game that came on this past Saturday. We had the Bengals versus the Titans, where we saw the return of, probably the best running back in the game, Derrick Henry, coming back from his foot injury. And we seen the Cincinnati Bengals won their first playoff game last week. First playoff victory since like the 1990s. Can Joe Burrow do it again and take up to an AFC championship, or will the number 1 seeded Titans in the AFC take advantage of it? And I'll tell you what, man, it was a pretty close game. Ryan Tannehill struggled so much through 3 interceptions. Joe Burrow didn't really have a great game. But the Tennessee Titans were all over him too as well. That defensive line, I even said that defensive line for the Titans is going to have a field day against Joe Burrow, because the offensive line for the Bengals are not really that good. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase really cover up all the components of what's going on with that offensive line for the Bengals, because they're just such special players. So we've seen that the Tennessee Titans had a sack record of 9 sacks, and that's an NFL record too in the playoffs. So that's unbelievable how terrible that offensive line is for the Bengals. But somehow, Joe Burrow gets it done, and Jamar Chase gets it done with the incredible pass connection they had late in the 4th quarter, and their kicker Mafilson hit the game-winning field goal as he was 4 for 4 on the field goal, including hitting the game winner. Like, it's why Cincinnati Bengals tweeted out, "This is why you draft a kicker," and that's facts. He came into the clutch, got him in the AFC Championship. Feel bad for the Tennessee Titans because Ryan Tannehill didn't play the best. Derrick Henry was, kind of limited. He only had 20 carries, only 62 or 82 yards, and I think 1 or 2 touchdowns, but it was just not enough. It was not enough to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. So congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals winning this game 19-16 as they go on to the AFC Championship against either the Bills or the Chiefs, which we will talk about later on. Let's go into the next game that happened Saturday night, the 49ers versus the Packers. And before we get into that game, Aaron Rodgers against the 49ers in the playoffs is 0-3. He have not beaten the 49ers in the playoff game. This seemed to be a bit personal with Aaron Rodgers, as he wanted to be in San Francisco, stayed in San Francisco, but they passed up on him, so you would think this would be a personal game. And this is almost like the second or third time that Aaron Rodgers has a good situation where he has a bye week, just like last year, has a bye week, and now he's in the second round. Like, he could get one victory and then go into the NFC Championship, because the Packers were favorites to go into the Super Bowl as the number one seed in the NFC, with Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, the pretty good defense, the Packers. Everything just lined up right here for them to win against the 49ers. But I also did say that the 49ers run game is very important, because the Packers rush defense is not that great. I don't even care what anybody says. I don't even care what a Packer says. The rush defense is not that great, as they could allow a lot of rushing yards on running attacks and everything. And you know the 49ers got that rushing attack of Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel. You could put Deebo Samuel anywhere, and he's a threat to anybody. So let's go ahead and get into this game. The 49ers versus the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, he was 20 of 29, 225 yards. The 49ers defense did a really good job, because I thought the secondary is not great, because Aaron Rodgers could have a field day throwing it to Davante Adams or Lazo. Randall Cobb was coming back too from injury. Like, Aaron Rodgers could have had a field day just to throw the football and everything, but they did a really good job of double teaming Davante Adams so that he doesn't get off. I think Aaron Jones was like the highest like yards as a receiver. Like, if he's a running back, he got nine receptions for 129 yards, or 129 yards. So they did a really good job with Davante Adams, and they did a really good job of shutting out Aaron Rodgers by not letting him score a touchdown. I think it was second in his postseason career that he haven't even give the Packers a touchdown. That is unbelievable. So really great job by the 49ers defense on that. And Jimmy Garoppolo played, okay. He played pretty good. A pretty bad interception that he threw. But Robert Go's field goal on the final play gives the 49ers the victory over the upset of the Packers. And it felt like Aaron Rodgers, everybody is saying that he played horrible, or this is the worst performance of his career. He played all right. I'll say he played all right. But there's times where you can see in a couple plays where Aaron Rodgers usually could make those type of throws 100% of the time and take advantage of it. There's some throws that it just felt like he was just nah, I ain't gonna do it. Pretty much just saying, I'm done with the Packers. Goodbye to the organization and see you later. So it's really upsetting that the Packers went out like this. Deebo Samuel had a pretty good game too as well. Everybody's questioning Aaron Rodgers and his free agency. I know he said he doesn't want to stay for the rebuild. And plus they're over the cap space. They're over $44 million cap space. Aaron Rodgers, $46 million deal. It's like Aaron probably going to end up leaving. Could we see him in a Denver Bronco? What team could we see Aaron Rodgers at? Everybody speculating the 49ers. That would be kind of interesting, because why would you go to a team that just beat you, that you just could not beat? It's just like a pride thing to me, Kevin Durant joining the Warriors, even though that it was a business move at the end of the day, but people say that it's just something that they would not do, because you can't just join a team that just beat you like that. So it's just pretty interesting, but I'm really proud the 49ers got the victory. So they're on the NFC Championship game against either the Bucs or the Rams, and we'll get into the game later on. Let's go ahead and get into the Sunday games. And speaking of which, we have the Rams versus the Buccaneers. So pretty much it was a thrashing in the first half. I think it was 27-3. Tom Brady bloody up. Matt Stafford played unbelievable. When I say unbelievable, I mean unbelievable. Because the thing I said about Matt Stafford is that the way that he would have to play, he would have to outdo Tom Brady some way. He would have to play like the MVP Matt Stafford that we know, that we've seen in a couple games this season, where we're like, man, Matt Stafford should be the MVP of the league, but he kind of went down and started playing not really well. You got Cooper Kupp, and you got Odell Beckham Jr., you got Cam Akers back, you got that defense. That defense was tearing up Tom Brady. When I tell you they were tearing up Tom Brady, they were tearing up Tom Brady. And it was unfortunate because they didn't really have their the weapons. Like, imagine if they would have the Antonio Brown. Imagine if they had the Chris Godwin, the Ronald Jones. Like, imagine if they had them. Imagine, Matt Evans being healthy, 100% healthy, because he wasn't really healthy this game either. So, but, Tom Brady, you should just, like, everybody and the mamas know never to count Tom Brady out, because he will surprise you in these type of games. And man, when I tell you that second half was different, it was a lot different. Tom Brady and the team came back from 27-3 to tie it up. Leonard Fournette had a pretty good game, he was 51 yards, but 30 carries, 2 touchdowns. That is really doable. Cooper Kupp had an amazing game. Cooper Kupp, probably the best receiver in the NFL this season, the way that he played. If you look, he's always been a great receiver. If you look at him in college, he was just a great receiver. Just look at his stats and his accolades. You will know why Cooper Kupp is like one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver this season. Going 180, got 183 yards, 1 touchdown, 9 receptions. But Matt Stafford, like I said, Matt Stafford played out of his mind. The defense played really well until they let Tom Brady and them come back on them, and it was 20. And Jalen Wilson didn't really had a great game as well, but they tied it up 27-27, went into overtime, and Matt Stafford led the game-winning drive, and it came down to a field goal. They kicked the field goal. The goal was good. Beat Tom Brady. Tom Brady ain't going to the Super Bowl this year, not going to the NFC Championship. It is Matt Stafford. And this is championship or bust for the LA Rams, because you got Matthew Stafford. You're telling yourself that you want to win now. Then you go get Von Miller. You telling yourself that you want to go to the Super Bowl and win the championship. Then you get Odell Beckham Jr. So it's pretty much like either win the Super Bowl or never win the Super Bowl. Like, that's what they're telling you. That's what they're telling you. So congratulations to Los Angeles Rams defeating the Buccaneers 30-27 as they move on to the NFC Championship game. So you will see the Rams versus the 49ers. That's going to be a pretty good game. I'm excited for it. Let's get to the last game here. We got the Bills versus the Chiefs. Man, I tell you what, this is probably like one of the best games, if not the best game I probably ever saw, because this one is going to be the rivalry the next couple of years. 2 young quarterbacks going at it. 2 classic quarterback duels. Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, versus Josh Allen of the Bills, who is an upcoming quarterback that people really talk about. And man, when I tell you it was a shootout, it was a shootout for days. Well, the Bills had it like an advantage and everything. Then letting the Chiefs come back like that, and having Patrick Mahomes and that team score 25 points in the final regulation of 2 minutes in the fourth quarter is unheard of. Basically saving the Chiefs defensive coordinator's job, because that Chiefs defense was letting Josh Allen and them pick them apart. Pick them apart. And for them to score 25 points in the final 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, that was just wild. And it got into overtime. It comes with the coin toss. Chiefs, got the ball, led the game-winner drive. Classic Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce for the victory, for the overtime victory, 42-36. Just a classic one. And there was always this debate. Would they change the rules of overtime in the NFL? I think so, just because I would like to see the other team give it a try and try to score a touchdown and back with it. Some people don't like it because it's going to take forever. It's probably going to take till 2 a.m, depending on how many overtimes you play and everything. Some people will have a point like, well, the coin toss is pretty much fair of what they do. I disagree a little bit. Like, you can do the coin toss, but I just feel like another team should just deserve a chance to go back against that other team, just because, you're just like letting just that team win because they just scored a touchdown. Oh, game over. Or a field goal, game over. It's like, let the other team give a chance to play and see if they could score the touchdown or match it and all that. I understand the game is to try to stop them from getting touchdowns, but I just think it's just kind of ridiculous in a couple of situations though. But it was still a classic game. I feel bad for the Bills as they were close. This was probably, if this was the AFC Championship, this would probably go down as probably one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 best AFC championships of all time, but that's not really the AFC Championship. This is the divisional round. So now in the AFC Championship, you're going to have the Chiefs versus the Bengals. That's going to be a pretty good game. So we'll see what happens with that. And this has been the best weekend of football so far. And I'm just excited to see what the AFC and the NFC Championship will deliver, and also the Super Bowl too as well. So tell me your thoughts down below on this wonderful weekend of football. What was your biggest loser, biggest winner, most surprising game, most upsetting game that you watched? Make sure you subscribe to Off the Ball Network for all your sports content and everything, the best sports content there is. Check out offtheballnetwork.com. You get everything you need from offtheballnetwork.com. And also follow us on our social media platforms, Off the Ball Network on Twitter, YouTube, obviously you got to subscribe, Facebook and Instagram. And importantly, thank you to all the sponsors for Off the Ball Network for making Off the Ball Network just wonderful and for us to do this every single day. I'm JP and we out of here. Peace.